Welcome back to the Flow Sports Fix on this Tuesday evening. Well, over the Easter weekend, it was a big weekend. Some amazing results in the AFL. It was a big weekend and wasn't the result that I was hoping for in one particular game, but that's neither here nor there. And right now, the Statman to break it all down and have a look at the AFL games with his AFL wrap for us. Hey, Statman?
Thanks, Clayton. Yes, it was a very big weekend in AFL action, and why don't we have a look at that now, AFLW as well. Just for the record, wanted to let everyone know out there, the Flowman is off until Friday, back for the sports show, but I believe he's sulking. He only got 5 tips correct on the weekend. Someone else who I know, in fact, I see him in the mirror every morning, got 7. So I've shot back to the lead in the Flow footy tips, and I don't think the Flowman is too pleased with that, but never mind. AFLW, we're into finals time there. The elimination finals, or the semi-finals, if you will, were played over the weekend. First of all, Melbourne, they took on Fremantle in the battle of 4th versus 5th. The winner of this clash takes on the Adelaide Crows, and it's Melbourne. Melbourne will play the Adelaide Crows in the preliminary final. They prevailed in the end 5-10-40 to Fremantle 3-5-23. And a great win for Melbourne without Daisy Pearce. So there's a lot of upside for them. And if you're thinking, well, it'll be the Adelaide Crows by how far on their home deck, Adelaide Oval, well, Melbourne actually beat the Crows earlier this year in Adelaide. So they'll come over with some belief, particularly if they can get Daisy Pearce back. The other game, Collingwood took on North Melbourne. Now, North Melbourne ended Collingwood's season last year and looked certain to do it again, other than for a late fight back by the Magpies. It was 3rd versus 6th on the ladder, and it'll be Collingwood that'll head to Brisbane and take on the Lions in the preliminary final on Saturday afternoon. They won by literally 6 points, 7-8-50 to North Melbourne, 7-2-44. And in AFLW, those two squads are certainly whacking up quite the rivalry, Collingwood and North Melbourne. So well done, and we're looking forward to those preliminary finals this weekend. The Crows and Melbourne, that being at Adelaide Oval, should draw a pretty big crowd with any luck. AFL matches across the weekend. What a weekend it was in AFL men's. And it all started on the Thursday evening, didn't it? So what an incredible match that was, where the Brisbane Lions, who did not look like it for most of the night, they got over the line against the Magpies in the end. Collingwood going down by a point, 11-7-73. Bailey, the hero, kicking the goal after the siren. The Magpies 11-6-72. On Good Friday, it was an absolute fizzer in Melbourne, where the Western Bulldogs pumped North Melbourne, who are, well, hapless at the very best. That's the best thing you could say about them. 128 points. Bruce booted 10. 25-17-167 to North Melbourne, a pitiful 5-9-39. And they are in a world of hurt at the moment. The Kangaroos absolutely will be wooden spooners this year. The Adelaide Crows, in a classic contest, this was with the Gold Coast Suns. Really good game of football. Was there to see it live. The crowd was up and about for it. And the Gold Coast Suns were also up and about for it. Equal amount of scoring shots, and ironically, after last week's inaccurate kicking, it was Taylor Walker's accuracy in front of goal that saved the Crows in the end, 14-11-95 to the Gold Coast Suns, 12-13-85. Walker booted 6 on the night to be the star and the difference between the two teams. On Saturday, what a day of upsets this was. The Sydney Swans just announced to all in sundry, if we didn't already know, they are back, up and about, and ready to challenge. They flogged Richmond 17-15-117. The Tigers 10-12-72. It's been a long time since someone dealt with Richmond in such a manner. They did it on the bit, the Swans. Well done to them. The Bombers absolutely thrashed St Kilda, and who knows where they're at the moment. The Bombers 22-11-143 to St Kilda, 9-14-68. They've got some injury concerns, some discipline issues, all kinds of worries at the Saints at the moment. The Bombers, who hadn't looked like it in the first 2 rounds of the season, were the masters against the Saints there. And then on Saturday night, top of the ladder, Port Adelaide headed over to Optus Stadium to take on the Eagles, and the Eagles did a number on the power as well, 16-12-108. Port Adelaide 11-5-71. They got some respectability late on the scoreboard, but let's be honest, the Eagles led this by the better part of 8 or 9 goals for most of the night. They were way too good for the Power, who, they'll go back to Adelaide, lick their wounds, and have another crack at home this week. On Sunday, it was the Blues. Now, I think most people thought this would be a very tight game between the two sides, but perhaps Fremantle have just hit the threshold of injuries because Carlton did it fairly easy in the end. 16-13, 109 to 9-10, 64. The last game on Sunday was that of GWS taking on Melbourne, and GWS jumped out of the blocks in this game and looked winners early. Unfortunately for them, they had 4 injuries during the game. They used their injury sub and then had more to follow. They just ran out of cattle in the end, the Giants, and Melbourne ran over the top and won comfortably, as a good side should, 15-12, 102 to the Giants, 11-68. They've got some real problems, GWS. Some of their leaders now are going to be injured for some time. Not a lot of depth at that club. Melbourne, on the other hand, flying. 3 wins from 3 starts and looking certain finalists at this stage, 3 weeks into the season. A lot can change in between now and September, of course, but at the moment, Melbourne looking like the goods. And on Easter Monday, yesterday, I sat down and watched this clash, and it was an enthralling battle right to the end. I've got to say, Geelong very lucky in the end to sneak home against the Hawks, 10-9-69 to 9-10-64. Hawthorn looked gone a couple of times in this game where Geelong got out to a 5-goal lead, but they refused to be beaten, the Hawks, and just kept coming, particularly in that final quarter. Geelong had a few injuries as well and were down some cattle towards the end of the game, but they did just enough to hang on. Another unconvincing win for the Cats on the back of an unconvincing win the previous week against the Brisbane Lions. So, gee whiz, they've got some work to do, the Cats. They're not flying as much as they would like to be, but sometimes all you have to do is win, right? And I think they'll be there when the whips are cracking at the back end of the year. That was the week that was in AFL, and looking forward to today off. We'll have Wednesday off, and then back into it on Thursday night again with round 4 action. Got to mention too, the Point Post. We'll be recording that for you tonight, and you'll have that up on our Facebook page a little bit later on in the week on Wednesday, given that we had a game on Monday. We just needed a bit of time to debrief on that. So that will be Dan Crouch and Ellis Gillius and myself from Flow News 24 joining you for that, exclusive to our Facebook page. Enjoy the rest of the day. Clayton, thanks very much, and look forward to talking footy with you later in the week.
Looking forward to that. And he mentioned Ellis Gillius there, and we're going to be chatting with Ellis as he puts on his English Premier League. We're going to be discussing the EPL. That's up next for you right here on the Sports Fix on this Tuesday.